Hi everyone. This is Sai from Let's Upgrade. So let's talk about how to get your certificate. It's very simple. You will see two links in the description. Number one is the place where you have to go and mark your attendance. Marking your attendance tells us like, okay, you are a legit student who have attended this particular session. Link number two is your assignment. This is where your 90% of the priority is. You have to go and submit the assignment that is given to you in this particular session. Once you're done submitting that assignment, we will be evaluating that. We will send you an email. If you get the passing criteria, then only we will give you the certificate on a particular date that is mentioned again in the description. Please check these three things, and this is the way how you will get a certificate from Let's Upgrade. Number one, mark your attendance. Number two, just go ahead and upload your assignment. Check for the email that you have received it, yes or no. What is the feedback that you have received from your trainer? Number three, check on which date the certificates will be released. Thank you. Bye. All the best. Happy learning.
So now we will see what functions are, and we'll see how to use functions, and we'll see a snippet of how functions are beneficial in life. Okay, so first of all, let us start with the basic definition on what functions are. Right, so if you've not heard of what functions are, so by definition, functions are nothing but just a piece of I would say a block of code, which is used to perform a specific task, in simple words. Right, so I can just write a block of code used to perform a specific task. Specific task. Right, and this task could be anything. Right, so uh, let's suppose um, you want um, the same code to repeat again and again. What do I mean by that is, let's suppose I come up here, right? um, or a better example, let's suppose we want to add two numbers, right? So how does that work is, I tell the user to add two numbers, and what I do is, I give two numbers that the so basically the user enters two numbers, and based on that I perform an addition. Right, now let's suppose this specific task, right? So I give the user two numbers, I have a plus operator, I print out the result, and I that's it. So we have basically 3 or 4 lines of code here. Let's suppose this same 3 4 lines of code I want to um, put at put at multiple places in my program. Right, so let's suppose I want the same adding functionality to be added to 15 different places in my program. Right, let's suppose that's a necessity of our code. So will you go ahead and write the same addition code 15 times? No, that's not how things work. So for that we have a function. As I told you, it is a block of code used to perform a specific task. So we can make a function for that code, and wherever we want to use that code, we can just use the function name that will access the code. I hope this is making sense. We'll see it in example, but this is the whole logic. So we don't, let's suppose there is a block of code which you want to repeat every time, right? And at 15 different places in the program. So you don't go and add the same code at 15 places. You just make a function and use that function 15 times instead of writing the code 15 times. So this is how it works, and we'll see much more. Okay, now, so as I told you, right, so what all features it brings. So I would say first is the reusability. We are reusing the same piece of code without even writing the code again. We just are writing the function, not the whole code, so it is reusable. Right, next up I could say it is a very cleaner and organized code. Now assume that let's suppose 15 times you're writing the code, so that means you're multiplying the number of lines of code. So let's suppose each function has 4 lines, so 15 into 4, right? So this is how much extra space it would take. But if you write a function, it will just be a one line code, right? So I can say cleaner code, and since if the code is cleaner, it will be very easy to debug. Easy to debug. So this is what we can achieve using functions. Now let us see how can we actually build the structure of a function. Now, function mainly contains two things, right? One is the function name, one is the invocation part, like how you invoke a function, and the next is the declaration part. So it has two things. So if I say function, it has got two things, the invoke part, the declare part. So first you have to declare the function, and then on declaration, after it has been declared, now you can invoke means calling the function. Invoking, that means calling calling the function. Now let us see how can we declare it. To declare the function, we have a syntax, and that is pretty much simple. So we have the return type, which is the data type, whether we want the function to return an integer, a character, a boolean, of that sort. So I'll say, let's suppose int, then comes my function name, let's suppose add, my function name is add, and this will contain the parameters. So these are parameters. Parameters are the values which we pass when we invoke the function. So I'll write here, this is called as a parameter, right? So this is how we declare it, and we then write the logic of what this function will do, and as simple as that. So here will be the code, right? The code which will be written inside the function. Now invocation is pretty simple. If you want to invoke the function, you just call the function name, let's suppose add, and then pass in the arguments. So these are called as arguments, and this is called as a parameter. So let's suppose if you want to add two numbers, so here while invoking or while calling the function, you send in two numbers. You say that the numbers are 2 and 3. So these numbers, they get stored inside the parameter, and since now the add function has access to these parameters, we can write the logic which you want to perform using these two numbers, right? I hope this is making sense. uh, Let us see an example of how this works. So I will comment this, and I will say something like, or let us try to calculate the area of rectangle. So area of rectangle is nothing but length into breadth, so it is basically multiplication of two numbers. So what I will do, first of all, I need so this is already int main, right? So inside the main function, first of all I will write, so it will take two values, length and breadth. I will add two variables. I'll say int length, initially it is 0, int breadth, initially it is 0. So two variables, uh, integer types, length and breadth. I can say, first of all I can say cout enter length and cin l. This would be now cout enter and enter the breadth, or the width would be a better word, and cn breadth. So basically I'm just taking the values from the user so that I can put it into the arguments and call the function. Now, so what I will do now, I will declare my function. So what I told you, that it takes in the data type, which is the type of the function. It will be, if it will be an integer data type, because it will return an integer value, because this will be an integer value, right? Length and breadth is integer. And the function name, so I can call the function name as maybe area of rectangle, rect rectangle. Now this will take in the parameters. So basically when I call the function, let's suppose I call int answer equals to, I call area this name. area of rectangle, and I pass in these values. So I'll pass in L, I'll pass in B, length and breadth. So once I do this, this length and breadth would have to be accessible to the above function when we are declaring it. So it will be int L and int breadth. As simple as that. Now once I do, I just need to simply return multiplication of both these. So L into B. As simple as that. So how will this work? So initially my code will start from line number 195. I will two variables would be declared, length and breadth. I'll ask the users to fill in the length and breadth, and whatever length and the breadth or the width the user has given to us, I will call out in this area of rectangle function. I will pass it as an argument to my declared function. So this is function declaration and this is function invocation. So I'll just write it here as well. It is invoke and it is declare. So if you are declaring it, I'm passing the values. If I'm invoking it, I'm receiving the values up. So if I receive the values, I can now simply print length into breadth, which will give me the answer. Let's suppose I click on run. Okay, so we have an error. It says it was not declared in the scope. Let us see why that is. Maybe the spellings. I hope the spellings are fine. Okay. Okay. So we have a function declaration is not allowed here. Okay. Oh, one more thing that we forgot, and that is that your function declaration should be outside your int main, right? So I will move it. So okay, where is our int main? Yeah, this is our int main. Okay, and yes. So basically, what it is saying that it has to be outside your int main, right? So this is where my int main is closing. I will move all this code inside my int main so that this remains outside. So this is outside my int main, or maybe okay, and this makes sense because see, this int main should not have, that is, this should not have a function because this is already a function. So the function declaration should happen outside your int main, right? Or maybe you can write it here. So if what I can do here as well is I can copy this and get rid of this first, right? And I can write it here, right? So now if I click on run, let's see if there are any errors. So see, now there are no errors. That means the declaration should have happen outside int main. Always make sure of this. So length I write is as 3, breadth or width I write it as 4. Okay, I think we are not printing, we are not printing the value, so we can do that. Yeah, since now my value is in answer, I can say cout answer. Okay, I click on run, I say length as 3, I say breadth as 4, and I get the answer as 12. So now anywhere you want to use this code, you just use this one. That's it. You just, let's suppose I want to use at 15 different places. I can just use this line, which will have access to this code here, right? So we are saving on time, we're saving on function, we're saving on memory. That's what functions are used for. So I hope this makes sense, right? So main thing here is to understand the difference between the function declaration, function invocation, arguments and parameters. Once you do it, it will be just a piece of cake work for you. Okay, so we have come a long way, right? So we in the previous part we saw what function is, how can we declare a function, what is the difference between the function declaration and the function invocation, plus what are parameters, what are arguments. right? So I hope this is clear to you. Now, with this being said, let's move to another concept which is often called as oops, right? Which I say is the heart of not only C++, of any programming language. Oops. And remember, once we were discussing the benefits of C++, we told that it is an object-oriented programming language. So this is what an object-oriented programming structure is. That is called as OOPS, 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 right? So we'll see what this means. We'll implement the concept of OOPS, and we'll see how can we make some meaningful programs out of this. Okay, so first of all, the question comes up here is what is OOPS? So basically, the concept of OOPS, right? It majorly consists of two main things. One is your class and one is your objects. So we have something called as class and we have something called as objects, right? These are the whole of OOPS, right? It only revolves around your classes and objects. Now, talking about a class, what is a class? I will say a class is a blueprint. So I say a class is a blueprint. Now, what do I mean by a blueprint? So let's suppose I can say by blueprint I mean like a design, like let's suppose I can say, or to be specific, I can say like a car design, right? Now remember, like, so let's suppose we have the design of the car, right? We're not considered about what is the specifications or what the interior is. We just want to know the class, we just want to know the design of the car. So let's suppose, so for example, if you go to a car market, if you want to purchase a car, so a specific model, let's suppose I take in the consideration Swift or Creta. So that single Creta car, it has many variants to it. The base model, the mid variant, the top variant, and all of that sort. And each variant has a little bit of differences. Maybe one has an automatic gearbox, one has a manual gearbox, one has 1.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, one has 1.5 liters turbo engine. So these are the differences which we have. But notice one thing: the outer body of the car remains the same. It is just the interior, it is just the internal features like the engine, the ventilated seats, the dashboard, all of these speakers, these sort of things changes. So a class can be considered as the blueprint of a car, and objects are nothing but the internal features of a car. So that's why I say that a class is a blueprint, right? Now an object, so that's for class, yeah. Now for object, I say that objects is a real product, right? It is a real product which is built, most importantly, which is built from a blueprint, right? I hope the difference between an object and a class is clear to you in layman terms. We'll be seeing it in code how this works, but now this should be fine, right? Another example, let's suppose we have a class, we have a car blueprint, right? The object could be, let's suppose, if we go even one level broader, like we have a car as a blueprint, right, which has four wheels, it has got a body, it has got a steel covering and all of that sort. Now which type of car that would be, an object. So maybe I say Tata Nexon i20. These are cars which are built from four wheels, from a steel covering, from whatever common features that it has. So this is also one of an example, right? So let us do one thing. Let us head over to this compiler and let us try to make something out of it. So here I will come up, yeah, maybe I can just comment this out. Okay, now The first thing is that so again, as I told you, there are two things. One is the class, one is the object. So class is always declared outside your main. So this is my main, I'm declaring it outside. So I will declare a class now. So the class always so I'll also say here that I'm defining a class. Now the class always starts with a keyword which is very specific to it, which is class. So which helps us kind of recognize that hey, it is a class. So I say class, then comes the name of the class. I'll say maybe car, because we are taking a car example. I'll say car. Now after that comes your access modifier. So I'll write public. I'll tell you what that means, right? So if I say public means that the properties of this class will be accessible to outside world, or will be accessible in out will be accessible in my main function, basically, if I talk about in coding language. So maybe I can say something like it has a brand, which I'll say string brand, and I can say something like speed. Let's suppose the top speed, it has something of that sort. So we have these things. Now apart from this, to display an information, we can use a function if you want to. So let's suppose I say void. uh, okay, so void is nothing but void is a function which returns nothing. So we have seen types of functions, right? We saw int, right? We have majorly seen int, which returns an int, because see, this is an int, it returns int. But there are also functions where we don't want to return anything. In that case we write void, right? So void is the keyword. I'll say display info, and with this I can display the info. I can maybe say cout brand, I mean whatever the brand is, and I could display this brand. Next up, I can also see out the speed, and I can say here speed, right? So basically I'm just trying to display the objects of the properties of the class, which will come from the object. So we'll see how does that work. So this was just the invocation of the class, and it has to end with a semicolon at the end, right? So this is a whole class. This is a class, right? This has been declared, now nothing. So we just now have to create an object out of it. So let's see how can we create an object. So for creating an object, I'll say creating an object. Now for creating an object, what I can say is, first of all, I need to create, so basically first of all I need to create an instead of the class object. So how do I do it? I say car, which is nothing but the name of my class, which is this car. Maybe I'll write it in capitals just to make it unique. Okay, so now I'll say car, which is the name, and now I will give my object name. It could be anything, just like we name a variable anything, we can name it anything. I can say, let's suppose my car, as simple as that. Now this my car will have the access to the properties, which is brand and speed. And why I'm saying this, it will have the properties, it will have the access, because it is public. One is private. If you do it private, then it will not have the access. Then there are different ways to provide the access to it, but for now we're only concerned about this public keyword, which gives the access to the main. So now it has the access. Now I can literally do anything out of it. So let's suppose I want to set the brand. I can say my car, use a dot notation, then the brand, which was the properties that we said, and you can give it the brand. Let's suppose I give the brand as uh, maybe Tata, right? And I can say my car dot speed, and I can give the speed as, let's suppose, 120, right? So this is how it is. And most importantly, if I want to display, because see, now I have set the properties, but I need to display it. How can I display it? How can I print it? I can use, for printing, I can use display info. So in here I can just simply do my car dot, I think what was the spelling, I'll just copy the spellings from above, dot display info. Yeah, I'll do my car dot display info, and this is how it will be displayed to it. So let's suppose now I run it. I run the code. Okay, so we have a spelling mistake. We okay, it says invalid conversion from character to int. Okay, that means we're trying to convert something, convert a character into int. And why is that? Because see, I have mistakenly wrote it in inside quotes. That means it is a string, but I want it a number, so I'll do it like this. Okay. And also one more thing, it says that my was not declared. So yeah, it has, instead of my, it should be my car, a small typo. Okay, and that's how you debug, right? So you see what it is in this in the information. If you know your code, you'll be able to debug it very easily. So now if I run it, so see, it says brand Tata and speed 120. Now what is happening? See, this is an object, right? This is an object of class car. This is the same class which we have declared here, car, right? Now what I'm doing is I'm saying my car dot brand equals to Tata. Now it will search that this car class should have this brand as a property. So I go here, this car class, it has a brand and it is public, that means it is accessible. So what I'm doing is I'm setting this brand equal to Tata. That means that brand has a value of Tata now. Similarly, I'm doing my car dot speed. So in this case, see, speed is here, and this is the object of a class car, and I'm assigning the speed value, the speed property, with a value of 120. That is how we have it. And lastly, I'm using my car dot display info. So this is my car dot display info, in which I'm printing basically the brand and the speed, the brand and the speed. This is how the relation works. So you create a blueprint which it could have another property as well. Let's suppose I have I have the color. I can have the color as well. So you can also display the color instead of that. Let's suppose I want to display the color. I say string color. So I can say, so this is what I have declared, right? So one more property I've added. So herein I can also say cout color, and I will write color here. Now I can also set the color. Let's suppose I say my car dot color equals to black. So I've set one more property to this blueprint. Now if I run this again, I get the color as well as black. So similarly, it is a blueprint, right? You can literally add anything and set the properties from here. It is as simple as that. Okay, so I know we have come a long way, right? We have been discussing all around C++. So in just some time back, we just saw what a class is, what an object is, how can we create a class, how can we create an object, and all of that sort. Now this can be used, so this class and object concept can be used a lot in C++. So in this one, in this part, we'll be actually creating an activity. We'll be creating a bank system out of this using classes. So it will also help you get more uh, it will help you get more grips on what classes are, and it will give you much more confidence. So let us see. Okay, so what we'll be building is we'll be building a banking system, right? So banking system means that we will have a class, maybe let's use bank account, and which can store the customer's name, his address. uh, if he deposits any money, we can get to know that. If he withdraws any money, we can get to know that. We can also let the users show their balances and all of that. So we'll try to implement it all around, how a banking system works. You can withdraw, deposit, show balance, and all of that sort. We'll try to implement the functionality, right? So the first thing that comes up here is defining the blueprint, right? So a common bank, we can think it of as a common bank which has some names, right? So I can start with the class. I can start with the name of the bank. I can say that it is nothing but bank account. Yeah, this looks good, bank account. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something, maybe okay. Right, so I was just thinking about the names, right? So maybe let's suppose we can have a name, right? Then maybe we can have the name of the customer comes. Then we can have the balance, the bank balance that he has. So I can say int balance, right? Apart from this, what we could have is we could have something called as a constructor, right? So what is a constructor? Constructor is nothing but a constructor is a first instance which gets invoked when you call a class. So and constructor is created by the same name which your class is. So I can just say bank account. It is just like a function itself, nothing fancy, but it is something which gets called as soon as you run your object. So I will have the name as string, and I'll have the balance as int. So I'll say int b, and now I'll just set it up. So I'll say name equals to n, and I'll say balance, which is my balance which I have which I have created as a property of a class. It would be equal to p, right? Now once we have it, we can now actually show what all to have it. So what I'll do, I'll have a function, a void function, which will not return anything, as we discussed just some time back. Let's suppose I want to deposit. And so if I click, let's suppose class dot deposit, so this deposit function should trigger. So I say deposit void deposit. Now it will obviously take in the amount which the user wants to deposit. So I'll say int maybe amount. So deposited, how will this work? So basically, if I go to a bank, I say I want to deposit any money. So this function will get triggered if I want to deposit any money. So now amount in deposit. Now I'll have to keep some checks, right? If I say, let's suppose I'll say I will only deposit if the amount is greater than 0, right? So I cannot deposit any negative currency, right? It has to be a positive currency. It has to be at least have a 1 rupee or 1 paisa. So I can say if amount is greater than 0, then only deposit. So now my balance would be, which is this balance actually, balance would be equal to whatever balance is was there earlier plus the new amount which the user has entered. As simple as that, right? And I can also maybe print deposited, right? Deposited amount, and I can give the amount here, and maybe I can have an endl. As simple as that, right? And if not, let's suppose if the user plays with me, he gives me -10. Obviously I cannot deposit that amount, right? It makes no sense in banking world to deposit a negative currency, right? If we have this condition, I can say invalid amount deposited. I can maybe just print out invalid amount deposited, right? As simple as that, and I can print endl. Right, I hope we are good to go in this part. And so same would be something like similar would be for withdraw. I know I can give all, I can maybe give an option to withdraw the money as well. So we have deposited, we can also have withdraw. So I can come up here, I can say something like void withdraw. Okay. Now since obviously if we are withdrawing it, it has to be an amount which we withdraw. So I'll take the same thing, I'll say int amount. Now in here maybe you can have the same condition. So if we are withdrawing, right, the amount that we are withdrawing, if it is greater than the money that we have, obviously we cannot withdraw it. Let's suppose I have 100 rupees in my account, but I'm trying to withdraw 120. I cannot do that, right? That means it's a edge case. So I can just have a condition first. I can say that if the amount which I'm withdrawing, if it is greater than my balance, right? Maybe I can say insufficient balance or something of that sort. I can say cout I can say less balance. Right now, what if I want to withdraw negative amount, or I want to withdraw zero amount? That is also an edge case, right? Maybe I'm playing with the bank. I'm saying I want to withdraw I'm saying I want to withdraw 0 rupees. Obviously I cannot do that, right? So I can say else if, I can say if the amount is equal to or is less than 0, right? Both the conditions get here. I can say see out something like invalid withdrawal request or invalid withdrawal amount. I can say invalid withdraw request, right? And maybe I can also print endl here, and maybe also print endl here, right? So if the amount is less than or equal to 0, I print cout invalid withdraw request, and I just give endl so that it moves to the next line. Now if it is not, then means it is a genuine request. So I come to else. If I'm withdrawing, so I whatever my present balance is, right, from this balance I need to subtract the amount which I'm withdrawing. I say balance equals to, just like here we did balance equal to balance plus amount if we are depositing. In this case it would be balance equal to balance minus amount. For example, my present balance is 100. I want to withdraw 20. So my balance would be balance, which is 100, minus the amount, which is 20. So my balance would now become 80 in this case, right? And if kind of this is the case, I can do something like cout withdrawn withdrawn the amount. Basically whatever amount we are withdrawing, I can just say withdrawn the amount, and I can just kind of say endl to it, as simple as that. So yes, this was the withdrawn request. And apart from this, we could also have a function to show all this information, right? So we can say something like, because at the end of the day, if I want to show some information, like what is the account holder name, what is the current balance, I can make a function. I can say, let's suppose, show balance, and here I can simply, if not nothing, if not much, I can simply say cout the account holder name, which is actually this name. So I can just say account holder, which is nothing but the name which is there in the class, and I will press enter. Similarly, I'll also print what do you call the current balance, which is actually this balance. So let's say he has done some transaction, he has deposited money, he has withdrawn some money. So the current balance, I can show it. Let's suppose here I can say balance, and I can say balance. So as simple as that, right? So this is what the show balance would kind of do. It will show me the name, which is the account holder name, and the balance, which is this balance, right? So this is all about a class, a blueprint. Now here is the interesting part: to consume the class, to make an object out of the class. So I will come here. I hope we all know how to make the object, right? So it is pretty much simple, just like we have done it. So first of all, I'll ask the user, maybe, yeah, I can ask the user to maybe enter their name if you want to store something to it. So I can say something like string name, right? And this name obviously would kind of come from the user, and I can say int balance, right? Okay, so now since this is there, maybe I can say cout enter your name. So the user will enter his or her name, and once he does that, I'll take in the name in the I would say in the name which we have created. Similarly, the next thing would be the amount. So I can say something called as cout, enter initial balance, and I will cl balance. So we have got the name and we have got the balance. Now, this balance, right, this balance will come up to my here, this here, which is this concept. So basically I'm creating a bank account by this name and this balance, right? So I'll send it this name to this bank account. So I can say something like uh, again, maybe I'll just copy the name, uh, this one. Yeah, bank account. And okay, so now I can create an object of this class. So I'll say bank account. Maybe I'll call this ACC, which is nothing but account name, right? I can say here something called as customer name, and one was the balance. I can say initial uh, balance. So customer name, maybe I'll make this capital. Yeah, initial name and the current balance, right? So that means all this information, which is the name and the balance, gets here, and we have successfully created one account. Okay, so now once it's done, now I will give the users the choice what they want to do, whether they want to deposit, whether they want to withdraw, or they just want to show the balance. So I can say something like int choice, and int, maybe I can say amount. Yeah, so now what I can do is, first of all, so it has to be a loop, right? What we can do is, because if we are running a class, I'm thinking of using a do while loop here, because we need to at least run it once. If let's suppose I come to the bank, so I'm coming with a purpose, right? I either want to display or withdraw or show my balance. So at least, so this means that at least my loop will run once. So what is the best loop to use? Okay, so we have the choice and we have the amount. Now, as I told you, if I want to implement it, run the loop at least once. I can use a do while loop. So I'll say do. First of all, print out the options to the user. I'll say cout. Maybe I can say something like uh, bank menu. Maybe we'll just tell the user if you want to, if you're coming here, you want to withdraw, deposit, or display. Right now, after this, I will give users an option. So what I'm doing is, so see, I can just say cout. Now options, right? So I can say option number one, if you are coming here for deposit, right, you can do that. um, Maybe I'll give option two, maybe you're coming here to withdraw, I can say withdraw. Option three, maybe you are coming here to show the balance, I can say show balance. And option four, maybe you want to go back or exit the form, you can exit, something of that sort. Now, here is the interesting part. Now, once I've given this option to the user, now I will tell that please enter your choice. So I can say something like enter your enter your choice. Now, once the users have given their choice, I'll store it. So I'll say cn choice. Yes. Okay. Cn choice. Now, once I have the choice, I can use if else, or better than that is switch. I can use a switch statement. So I can just say maybe switch based on the choice which the user is making, choice. So I can say case if the user is entering 1, right? I can say cout, that means print, that means that he's coming to deposit. So I can say enter the amount to deposit. Let enter the amount to deposit. And once he or she has entered the amount, I can ask to give me the amount. So I can say cn amount, right? And once he has done it, so I can just use this class name, which is this object name, which is acc. I can say acc dot deposit and deposit the amount, which is this amount. So basically if I do acc dot deposit, so I'll come to the class, I'll come here to the deposit, this is the amount, and it will get accumulated. It will get accumulated to my balance, and I'll show the amount deposited. So this is what it is. um, yeah, so apart from this, we know that we have to now break it. So I can just say break. Similarly, I can have cases, more than one case. So case 2 would be, yeah, case 2 would be something like, I'll cout enter the amount to withdraw, because I am withdrawing the amount at the end of the day. So enter the amount to withdraw, I'll add a semicolon. Yeah, now once I have done that, I'll ask the user to give me the amount. The user has given me the amount. Now I can say something called as, I can call the withdraw method, and I can send in the amount here, and I can break. So if I call this acc.withdraw, that means I'll go to my class withdraw, which is this will be called, and I'll show my balance. Okay, so this is also done. So we have case 1, case 2, case 3 was to just show the balance. This would be pretty simple. I can just write case 3, and I'll just call show balance. So we already have a function, void function. Remember, we made a void function. You can just simply call show balance. I can maybe just verify the name. Show balance is here. Yeah. Yeah, account dot show balance, and I will break. Cool. And lastly would be nothing but just to exit. So case 4, if I want to exit, I can maybe just give a thank you note, or I can maybe just say thank you for banking with us. As simple as that. And yeah, I can maybe give endl. Yeah, so I can just do that, endl. And apart from this, yeah, case 4. So this loop will run until I've not pressed 4. So case 4 means that I need to now exit from my do while. So I can mention here, yeah, while choice is not equal to 4, run this loop. And if my choice becomes 4, then you exit the loop. As simple as that. So I hope this makes sense. And yeah, so if we have anything else, I mean, if we have any errors or any bugs, we'll see how can we resolve those bugs. But yeah, this should be okay. Okay, so now I'll click on run. Okay, we have error. Okay, class declaration does not have this. Okay, so my bad, we have to always end the class declaration with this colon. Okay, customer name was not declared. Okay, let us see, let us maybe run it again. Okay, so we have from line number 281, let's see what is that, maybe some spelling mistake. Customer name and initial balance, so it says that customer name was not declared in the scope. Okay, and we have got is a private. Okay. Okay, so there's a spelling mistake here, right? So here we have declared name and balance, but we are using customer name and initial balance. So I'll just replace it with the customer name, and this will initial balance, right? So just make sure to use the same names. Don't get confused with the names like I did, right? So this should be fine, and this should be good to go. Um, or maybe, you know what, since I've already, okay, maybe they let me use, maybe let me use custom, maybe let me use customer name and initial balance. Okay, now let me run it again. Okay, it says that it is a private. Oh, I think we forgot to mention public here, that's why it is coming. Yeah, so make sure to always make it public, because again, it is, if not, it will not be able to access the value and will give the error. So yeah, say public. Let us see next. Okay, so return 0. Maybe there is some issue with the placement of the while loop. So here it is. Ah, okay. So see, while will come here once the switch ends somewhere here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, now it says enter your name. So I enter my name as Ritik. Initial balance, let's suppose 1,000. Now bank menu. Let's suppose I have come to the bank and I want to deposit. I say 1. It says enter the amount to deposit. I want to deposit 500. Deposit 500. Good to go. Now I can show the balance. Now my balance is, so account holder is Ritik and my balance is 1500. Let's suppose I come to the bank again. I want to withdraw. I press 2. I want to withdraw 200. I come here and it says withdrawn 200. Now if I come here, show my balance, it says that it has been 1300. See, initially it was 1000. I deposited, it became 1500. I took 2000, sorry, 200, it became 1300. So yeah, I think that is working perfectly fine. If at the end of the day I want to exit, I can say 4. It says thank you for banking with us, right? So this was all in how we can use classes, we can use objects to make your account application. So just see, maybe try to recap, or maybe just code it along if you want to, just to get a good reference over it, and I believe it should be good to go. With that being said, thank you so much.